Well, fine, good evening, everyone. This is Patricia, and I am traveling for history. We'll be coming out of the Champlain Mill in just a moment, but as requested, I'm going to show you a map of where I am. Oops, it's quite windy now. Bear with me for a moment. There we go. And where that pink pin is down below, that's us. Alrighty, so the Champlain Mill is in Winooski, Vermont. Did you know that Winooski is a Native American word for onion or leek, and that the Winooski River and the city of Winooski got their names from it because these onions and leeks grew wild by the side of the Winooski River. There you go. All right, on to the Champlain Mill. So just so you know, when I was Googling Champlain Mill history, that the Waterworks restaurant, which is on the other end, can't see it here, but make sure to show it as I head back the other way. But they have an awesome history of this place with photographs. So the photographs I'm going to show you, as well as the information I'm going to provide to you, primarily comes from there, but when you hear unquote, it's because I'm going to start talking about other things about this place besides what they have provided. That's good. All right, so looking at this picture here, which is showing us all the buildings that were here, but most have burned down, and that's a real shame. The smokestack, I think, is still around, but yes, the smokestack is right over there. See that? See that right there? That smokestack? Yep. There we have it. All right. Quote, the Champlain Mill in Winooski, Mill number 4, was completed in 1912 as part of American Woolen Company's expansion. Built in the Italianate style, Italianate, all right, unquote. What does Italianate style mean? Well, particularly for commercial buildings, this harkens back to Venice. If you think about the Venice in the 1500s, how wealthy some of the Venetians became, it just made sense for someone to name this style Italianate, and with the hope that whatever business owner would use this style in their building, that they also become fabulously wealthy. All right, back to my quote. So built in the Italianate style with brick from Drury Brick and Tile Company of Essex Junction, this was the newest of the 4 textile mills at Winooski Falls. The building is 280 feet long, 100 feet wide. Daylight from high side windows reached the room's center. Wooden beams and columns saved the expense of steel and helped absorb machine vibrations. The 6th level, clerestory, was removed in 1980 because of stability concerns, unquote. So clerestory windows typically are small, like basement windows. They are also typically near the roof line. So, for instance, along this area here where the corbels are, those wooden blocks that are those wooden pieces that are sticking out, corbels. So clerestory windows would be typically near there to let in as much light as possible. And they'd be usually also along the entire, as much of the roof line as possible, to let in as much light as possible. Quote, during the early 20th century, Hine and Louis McAllister created exceptional archives of mill photographs in this area. In fact, here's one right here. There's the boy right there doing something with the yarn. Hine, going back to quote, Hine, a social documentarian, recorded factory workers at Winooski Falls and other parts of Vermont circa 1910 to 1915. His photographs helped to pass early labor laws to protect workers, especially children, unquote. All right, let's talk about children working in the first place. No labor laws, as you just heard, and interestingly enough, there was a bit of a tacit handshake agreement between school officials and factory and mill owners. Now, I'm going to keep saying mill because I'm sitting in front of a mill, but know that I'm also referring to factories. So, let's see. Truant children, no, they're not school material. Let's send them to the mills. Children with poor grades, they're not school material. Let's send them to the mills. Girls in school, oh my God, what on earth? Send them all just to the mills. You get the idea. So, and given how small the parts were on the machines, children were often tasked with fixing them in the moment without turning off the machine. Think about that for a half second. Machines are moving, and children may have small hands, fingers, arms, all that, but let's face it, everything will be mangled on them as well as adults. So many a child was definitely injured and worse trying to fix machines that were not shut off. Ugh. All right. Quote, McAllister, famous for his panoramas, portrayed urban landscapes as places where people worked. I have another photograph for you. This has to be during the 1927 flood. I mean, look at that. That's the Winooski River in front of the mill. I mean, that's pretty insane. By 1911, electric power from the plant behind Mill Number 1 replaced 2 water power turbines and the backup coal furnace for steam located in a 1-story extension just west of the restaurant, which is on the other side of the building. After the destruction of the 1927 flood, that space was rebuilt for a small dyeing operation. All right, we got another picture for you. This here. So that was a picture of the 1927 flood. This is a Company D engineers from the Army, and they're standing on a pontoon bridge they built between Burlington and Winooski because during the flood it tore out the existing bridge. So the bridge that's there now, built after the flood, and see if I can pan in for you if you can see it from here. That gray structure over there is higher than the first one was, as I recall reading forever ago. Alrighty. Quote, the Champlain Mill manufactured fine worsted wool fabric for military, police, and railroad uniform cloth, men's suiting, and fashion fabrics. During World War II, machines operated 24 hours a day, with 300 people leaving and coming for the third shift changes. Another photograph. I'm betting this is a Lewis Hines photograph. It really looks like one that he had done. You see all the children, but there are other men pictured here. In the center, there's that boy with the tie on, and to our right of that boy, that gentleman who looks a bit long in the tooth. He may not have been, but work may have done that to him. I understand they worked from sun up to sundown. As long as there was light, they were working. And if you're interested in Lewis Hines, photographs, by the way, capital Lewis, last name capital Hines, You can find them online. The Library of Congress, just Google Lewis Hine's factory photos and Vermont, and a plethora of them will come up. It's really astonishing and beautiful and ugly all in the same setting. So, quote, the mill shut down in 1954 because of a decline in defense orders, the onset of synthetics, foreign competition, and the high cost of manufacturing in northern mills. Subsequently, warehouses and small manufacturers occupied the building. The government urban renewal program bought the building in 1972. Vacant for several years, the building became derelict, filled with broken glass and pigeons, until renovations in 1980 transformed the interior to office space, boutique shops, and dining establishments. One notable restaurant was Waterworks, located in this space. The Mill Museum opened in 1998. By early 2000, many tenants left. Retailers became a part of Champlain Mill history. In 2011, My Web Brochure purchased and renovated the building, adding new windows, a new roof, and their company office spaces. The Mill Museum and Winooski Historical Society Museum welcome visitors on the second level. Unquote. Just so you know, the Mill Museum is open Wednesday and Friday, 12 to 4. As of the time of this recording, which is July 24, they will be closed July 28, 2021, but will reopen on Friday, the 30th. Of July. And best of all, admission is ding 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 free, my favorite word in the English language. And then let's finish up this quote here. In December of 2014, Waterworks Food and Drink opened to occupy the space of its predecessor with an updated interior, a creative new American menu, and the same spectacular views of the Winooski River. And they truly are spectacular. It's as if you're singing a kayak, eating. So references, they used essays from mill photographers by Jeffrey Marshall, and Why the Mills Closed by Douglas Slabaugh from the mills at Winooski Falls. They also used notes from Raymond Roy, former Champlain Mill superintendent, and Mill Museum research files. It's an outstanding overview of this place. And I'll have more about other mills in the area and factories, because I love that stuff. I just love that stuff. I already have a variety of industrial videos from Pine Street, the Maltex building, the Queen City Tulatex Corporation series of buildings. So those two, the train tracks down there on Pine Street as well, because they still exist. So I'll include them in the description below, all this wonderful stuff. All right, let's take a bit of a walk and see what else we can see. Okie dokie. So we can see these humongous windows, which let in a whole bunch of light, and designed that way specifically so that they could get as much work out of their workers as possible. Long before unions, long before labor laws, long before everything. There is no wonder why so many people died in factory and mill accidents. None whatsoever. All right. Waterworks is over here. Right there. This end of the building. Excuse me. See what appears to be what had been maybe a door right here. I mean, it could have been another window, but given it goes all the way down, I'm thinking a door. But certainly correct me if I'm wrong about that. I don't mind being corrected when I'm wrong. And let's get a little closer, because we can. You can see that the sun is setting. We've got another 15-ish minutes left of sunlight. So let's just take a stroll down here. You can see better. They are leasing, by the way. If you'd like to lease a space here, no idea what that costs. I suspect that's a phone call to someone to find out. Now I know at the Queen City Cotton Company on Lake Street in Burlington did not allow the windows to be open for ventilation because they didn't want any contamination of the cloth. And I have to wonder if that were true here as well. I don't know. But if you know, share in the comments below. I'm always interested in history. It's my favorite thing, clearly since I travel for it. Might as well come down farther. Let's see where these arches go, shall we? The arches down here. The mill sits on the Winooski River on the other side, and the Winooski River certainly would have powered the turbines, as I mentioned earlier, until electric was used in 1911. Oh, just doors. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. We're coming up to the Winooski River now. There's some people, quite a few people, but I don't typically like to record around people. I don't know what they're going to say and stuff like that. But we're here, might as well do this. All right, and here we come. I've seen people kayaking down here. So, across the way there, that building right there, that's the Chase Mill. That's on the Burlington side of the Winooski River. You can see some falls up here, over rocks of course, and that foundation there, that right there, I'm pretty sure that was a grist mill, but I'll double check and confirm that before I actually write it in the description below. We'll say it's quite peaceful here, but you see the bridge is higher than this, but I have seen the Winooski River rise, and it's both beautiful and frightening at the same time. Here's the Champlain Mill. And the back of it as well. Lots and lots of windows. I don't know about you, but I could probably stand here all day. But I'm not going to. Anyway, this is what I wanted to tell you about. It was the mill, the Champlain Mill, a bit of the history, and I'll include some interesting links in the description below. Until we meet again, you have a great night. Bye.